Cooper Road Mini once again. Let's have one last look at our engine compartment here before we put the engine back into this little 67 Mark 1. We've put new inner CV axles on here just to get the better quality ones. We can see these have a great, very nicely polished seal surface, superior quality boots. Just a very nice fit that gives the car a good solid feel and keeps your engine clean, keeps that grease from flying out everywhere. We mentioned over here that we have a little bit of a brake fluid seep in some of these fittings. And we can kind of see why. This is a lot of stuff hanging here that is hard to get to when it's all in place with the engine in particularly. We can see that over here. This was a little bit wet. We had a little drip here. We can see how difficult it is to get in here and put any pressure on this without feeling like, okay, something's going to give here. This entire three-way valve is attached to this little bracket, which is part of the engine stabilizer, and also the bracket for the clutch hose for the hydraulics for the clutch, of course. So if we're over here trying to tighten this, boy, there's not much to hold. I guess you could put some force here, but you can see that it's a pretty light duty mount up here. The last thing we want to do is bend this and break it off. So a little trick that we like to use, get our wrench kind of sitting here. And oftentimes you can just kind of sit back and look at a situation and go, you know, I'm not going to break something. Let me figure out a way to put some force to this so that I can counteract the twist I'm going to put into it. So if we put another little wrench here, we can see now this gives us turning this way. It's a little 7/16 box end. But if we support that structure with the wrench below, and now we can put a little bit of torque here without feeling like we're going to bend the bracket off. And we can see how we can cinch up that hydraulic hose right there, and hopefully that little trick's enough to just stop that leak that we were getting. We can see what's going on in the frame down there where we cleaned it all up. We've got, you know, a fair amount of brake fluid landing right down there, and that tends to take up the paint, and it's really nicely detailed front end. Anyway, we're just about ready, I think, in the next day or so to put the engine unit back in here, lay all this stuff back down. We can see what I did here. These are those nice nickel copper pipes. So literally I just turned it up, got it lightly supported here, resting on something over there. That's just a nicer way to do it than breaking into the hydraulics. Invariably you're going to get brake fluid on the nice new painted frame. And so we'd rather just not make a mess. We'll work carefully and slowly and try to keep everything intact as much as possible. You can see that we've removed the dyno mat cover, and there's our speedo. There's the face of the dash, and you can see why we get gas fumes when we're driving this car. We'll see if we can't come up with a plate or something to give a little bowl shape for the carburetors. What else on this? We can see it's a mixture of old and new. It seems to have its original wiring harness. You can see it's got the original wrap in places, very you know, big stout looking terminals, and the colors make it look like it's pretty old, probably likely an original harness. But in the next day or so, as I said, we'll make more progress and we'll have that engine sitting back in here.